What is up, guys? I'm recording right now. This is going to be a super raw video, right? Of just our whole cold email process. It'll probably be close to an hour. It's literally a 26-page document that I'm going to go over our whole process when someone comes to us and asks for our service and to help them with lead generation, right? So the goal with this is just to have the most honest and in-depth and just straight up cold email guide that will give you all the information that you need to literally from buying your domains to managing your inbox and booking sales calls to get results with cold email, right? So no flashy edits, no nothing like that. It's just gonna be straight up our process laid out for you. So let's get it going. So first, I want to compare cold email to any other customer acquisition channel that you may see in 2024. So there's ads, there's cold calling, cold DMs, stuff like that, which they do definitely work. But as we've seen, it is just the most plausible option that allows you to easily reach literally thousands and tens of thousands of decision makers at companies that are directly within your ICP and targeted, and you can target them specifically without learning any crazy technologies, softwares, investing hours and hours of your time into this system, and just wasting and trying to reinvent the wheel, right? So we have all the frameworks to know how to use cold email and how to get results with it. So there's no need for you to launch ads or do all of this testing. You just have to follow this framework. All right. So that's the goal with this, to give you literally all the information you need. That's why this is 26 pages long. Um, on how to actually get results without wasting time and money on cold email or any other customer acquisition channel. So this is directly for any online, usually online service-based business owner looking to scale and bring on more clients consistently, all right, without having to put literal thousands and sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars on the line and basically gamble their money in trying to get customers through the door. All right, so let's get into it. And first off, I want to kind of go over why I'm credible to even have this framework and kind of show you how we do this. It's because of the results that we've been able to get, right? So, and usually, we work with most industries, but these are just a few examples. So, for example, Fred, anything real estate related, he does a lot of, right? So, he was looking to get in touch with property managers. So, we helped him do that. And we literally 6x'd his call volume within 6 weeks. All right. So, and this is including the warm up process. All right. So, very good results for him. And he was able to see a very good ROI from cold email. Keegan, he sells email marketing, right, and copywriting to high ticket courses and info products. And he came to us, right. He was at a kind of like an early age with this stage with his agency. Not many case studies, really like a few months into his agency, and we were able to get him a client signed within 30 days, right? So that's the power of being able to put something relevant, right, a relevant offer in front of a relevant person, and provide them some sort of value. So within 30 days, we were able to get him a new client. So next is Ben, who sells high ticket marketing for any industry. Like there's no specific industry for him, and it's very broad, right? But we were able to get him 7 new clients within 3 months. So I mean, those are great results. I mean, I'm pretty sure it says here that was $20,000 worth of deal value for Ben within 3 months, right? And this is all using cold email. So obviously it works, and he saw very good results from that. So yeah. So before we get into anything actually cold email specific, there are a lot of things that you have to do to set up your agency for success with cold outreach, right? And that is all of the prerequisites, right? So being able to take care of these things over here. And one thing that I want to make extremely clear to you guys, because this is a very common misconception when someone thinks about doing cold outreach. A bad agency before cold outreach is a bad agency after cold outreach, right? So cold outreach, like if your service delivery is bad, it's still going to be bad after cold outreach, right? So the bare bones of your agency must be optimized before you even think about amplifying your customer acquisition, lead generation, booked sales calls, whatever you want to call it with cold outreach, right? Your bare bones need to be optimized, right? It really is extremely important. So this means everything from your offer, ICP risk reversal, right? That type of stuff, to your social presence, to your landing page, your service delivery, of course, and your sales process. If these things aren't at least like 50% optimized, where you have systems, where you have proven results, you have kind of that flow going, there's no point of touching cold outreach, right? So, once again, if you have a bad agency before cold outreach, it will be bad after, okay? So, step one, offer, right? I need you guys to think about a 2024 Lamborghini Huracan, brand new, right? It's worth probably $300,000, right? It's a nice car, of course. What would you do if I offered you to buy this Lamborghini Huracan for 300 that's worth $300,000 for 10K? What would you do? Like, would you take the deal or no? I know for a fact that's a good deal, right? Like, I would take it in a heartbeat, right? I would give them my card right away. I wouldn't hesitate at all. It's a no-brainer offer, right? It's I'm paying 10K for a $300,000 car, right? It makes logical sense, right? And the whole point is that it literally it makes sense, right? It is a no-brainer offer, right? Your goal with your service, with your whatever you offer, right? Whether it's email marketing, paid ads, website design, CRO, it doesn't matter. It's for them to have that same feeling when they hear about your offer, right? So it to simplify it a lot, the offers that fail, they sell the process, right? The offers that win, they sell the outcome. All right, so they sell the outcome, for example, the Lamborghini, right? And this kind of helps with a lot of different things, which we'll get into in a bit. But the whole point of being so specific with your offering is number one, for the prospect to be able to visualize what it is you're selling and that result, for them to become entertained by that offer, right? For them to find it interesting, and for them to feel stupid saying no, right? So those three things, that's the whole point of having a no-brainer offer. So the benefits of having a no-brainer offer are quicker sales cycles, right? You're able to sign higher quality clients, charge more for your service, and have more sales opportunities, right? Which will kind of snowball into from more sales opportunities to better sales, like closing rates, to better clients, to being able to charge more, right? So those are the benefits. There are no downsides to having a no-brainer offer. They're literally they're it's only positives. So you need to have a no-brainer offer. So let's take a look at some examples. A bad offer where you sell the process is, we'll manage your social media or we'll redesign your website, right? Nobody cares. That's the truth. Nobody cares that you'll manage social media or you'll redesign the website. What they do care about is if you come up to them and you say, we'll generate 15% more sales from your social media within 60 days or you don't pay. It's the same, you're doing the same stuff, but you're giving them a different offer, right? A much more relevant and interesting offer that they're able to visualize, right away. Another good example, right, comparable to we'll redesign your website is we'll redesign your website to convert 15% more visitors within the next 40 days using our whatever strategy, and you only pay if it beats your current website, right? That is a no-brainer offer. That's as if you're selling a Lamborghini for 10K, right? That's the whole point. So the key points of a Lamborghini offer: number one, specific ICP, right? Your ideal client profile, your target market, whoever you're selling these services to, right? So you need to understand the types of companies that you're trying to get in touch with, and more specifically, the types of people at these companies, right? Sometimes you'll be selling marketing services, sometimes you'll be selling sales training, sometimes you'll be selling IT consulting. It really differs, right? Depends on what you're selling. So there's different people that you contact within that company for different offers. So, for example, right, to be broad, there's lawyers, e-commerce brands, software companies, property managers, and a lot, thousands of more, right? Different industries. Then, right, for example, let's do lawyers, right? If you're targeting lawyers, right, there's injury lawyers, right? There's business lawyers, there's family lawyers, and then even within that, there's different subsegments, right? So you need to identify these sub niches or sub segments within that broader market. And that's where you're able to really personalize your messages and targeting to be more relevant, right? So a few more examples are for e-commerce brands, right? Instead of just saying in your email, hey, I notice you own an e-commerce brand, right? You're able to say, hey, I noticed you owned a supplement brand, right? Or you can get even more specific than that, right? Instead of supplement brand, you can say, hey, I noticed you sell protein powder, right? Or you own a protein powder company, right? That's just one example of going more in depth into the people that you're selling your service to. So now that you're clear on the exact companies you're getting in touch with, right? And why is it important to have these different sub niches? Having sub niches within this broader market that you're targeting will help you personalize a message to these companies and to the people at these companies and make it a lot more relevant to them, right? What you'll notice about this whole 26-page guide, it's all about the prospect, right? It's all centered around the prospect. So you need to make sure that it's relevant to them and it's personalized to them. So that's that. And the whole point of this is you increase your chances of a positive response, right? The more positive responses you get, the more booked calls you get, right? The more booked calls you get, the more clients you sign, right? So yes, you can do segmentation based off of like kind of going a deeper level, right? So from lawyers to injured lawyers, right? But you can also segment based on the technologies they use, the locations that they're in, right? Geographically, like if they're in New York or if they're in California. The funding, right? So this is very popular for SaaS companies, right? If they've just been recently funded, you can, see that, right? And there are tons of other factors that you can personalize and like kind of broadly segment your lead list to make it easier to personalize a message to these people, right? So specific ICP, right? Next is your quantifiable result, right? So this is comparable to when you're walking down a casino, right? In the middle of the casino, right? You see all this going on. It's like the jackpot, right? You see the numbers, the flashing lights, oh, you can win 50K here, you can win 1.2 million, or like the lottery, right? You see this number, that quantifiable result from engaging in this interaction, right? Whether that's buying a lottery ticket or investing into your service, right? So, for example, if you run a social media marketing agency for personal trainers, you you as a service, yeah, you do social media, right? You manage their social media, but that's not what really matters, right? The personal trainer doesn't buy from you just because you can post a few times a week, post on their story, make a few posts, and increase their follower, right, account. They're paying you to bring them more clients one on one. That's the end goal. That's the result of working with you, right? Clients one on one or whatever they're selling, right? Whether it's online coaching or they have affiliate links, it doesn't matter. They're paying you to make them more money, or save them money, or save them time, right? So I kind of skipped to that, but they're in essence, you don't sell the service, right? You sell the result that you get from the service, right? I'll say that again because it's extremely important and not a lot of people understand. You don't sell the service, right? You sell the result that you get from the service. This becomes the promise that you make to your prospects on what you will deliver, right? There are three different categories, and I skipped to it before, that your promise can fall into. You can either save time, save money, or make money, right? So, examples of saving time will save your marketing team 15 hours a week in repeatable tasks using our automation system, and you only pay if it works, right? So, you save time. Save money, we help DTC e commerce brands decrease their customer acquisition cost by 50% within 30 days using our ad optimization strategy, and we only take a percentage of the savings, right? So here you save the money, right, on customer acquisition. Then you can make the money, right, which is very popular. It's the strongest one of the three. We'll increase your Shopify website's conversion rate by 15% in under 1 month using our CRO optimum strategy, or you don't pay a single dime, right? So they fall into three different options, right? Your results. And something to remember is that the bolder claim, right? The bolder claim that you make, and if it's believable, the more people will be interested in your offer, right? And be willing to work under those conditions when you start working together. So next, part of a Lamborghini offer is the time frame, right? So how long will this process take to get this result? So the prospect needs to know when they can expect that, right? That result. Is it going to take 24 hours, a month, a year, 2 years? Usually it's like a few weeks to a month, right? To a few months. So, um, usually this number just comes out from an average, right? So if it usually takes you 3 months to increase an e-commerce store's revenue from email by 15%, put 3 months, right? Um, so yeah. So next is your unique mechanism, right? What makes your company unique and why someone should go with you. So this should be more than just like a weird or interesting name that you put or attach to your strategy, right? So a lot of people, they just add like some weird name to their strategy and put it on their website. It's not about that, right? The whole point of this is for them to see the clear reason why they should go with you over your competitor, right? Which you have tons of, right? And they are pretty like interesting on their own, right? So you need to make sure that your unique angle, your unique mechanism is worthy, right? So this is like the special sauce that like your customer sees within you that like they can't get from anywhere else, right? So for example, I know a different agency, right? And this is kind of off topic. I know a different agency that was doing cold outreach, right? But the thing is that they didn't do it through cold email, they didn't do it through cold calling, none of the traditional methods. They did it through Facebook Messenger, right? And that was like their unique mechanism, right? Nobody else provides Facebook Messenger uh, like DM automation or cold outreach with a good result, right? So their offer was very strong, and people worked with them specifically because it was something new, it was something different, and something that they weren't exposed to and commoditized beforehand. So this is also pretty important, right? And lastly, the risk reversal. So this is a very kind of mixed belief on like, oh, should I have a risk reversal? Or some people think that like if you have a risk reversal, then you're scammed, uh, for some reason. Um, so yeah. So remember that these are cold prospects, right? So having some sort of risk minimizer, is very good to have, right? And you're literally asking them to send over thousands of dollars, right? If not tens of thousands, over the internet. They've never met you. There is a lot of risk to that, right? So they need to feel some sort of security that minimizes that risk for them if things were to go south, right? So, like I said, people are very skeptical with agencies, and specifically marketing agencies, and that's why if you're able to say that you work on a performance basis, right? Or you only pay if you see results, or any of these variations of a risk minimizer, they are like they do add to that offer, right? They do increase the people that are interested, and eventually people who you get on sales calls, right? So the goal is to make the prospect feel as if there's literally nothing, especially money, right, for them to lose, right? So if they feel that sense of security, there's no reason for them not to move forward with your deal, all right? So now that you have your no-brainer offer, let's move on to the next step of those prerequisites that we were talking about. So next is social presence, right? So think about it this way. When you send an outbound email to a cold prospect, they have no reason to trust you, right? They don't. You can't change that. Like there's nothing you can do. But if you can change what happens once they inevitably search up your name or company name, or whatever about you, or click your link, whatever it is, you can control that, right? So the quickest and easiest way for them to start trusting you a little more, right, before that call or before they respond to that first email, and think of you as the authority, right? If, for example, if you're selling ecom email marketing, for them to think of you as the ecom email expert, right, is like what they search up is what comes up, right? And you need to make sure that you exist on the internet, right? So this comes to the concept of being Googleable, right? Of when someone Googles you, what shows up, right? And that's when people start thinking of you as an authority, other than and instead of just like another person pitching them in their inbox, right? So this means that producing content, right, and literally just exerting marketing material onto the internet, onto blog posts, onto social media, onto your website, in order to increase the likelihood that people will find your content, right, when they search for you, and when they search for your topic, right? So this depends, right, on the type of companies that you're reaching out to, and depending on that, you should tailor your content to whatever they're gonna look at, right? So you have the options of YouTube videos, right, like this one, Twitter, LinkedIn, basically all the social medias, blog posts. You can get on podcasts if you want, right? Um, so there are a lot of different ways that you can do this, and the better social presence that you have, in return, the better your cold outreach will work, right? This is something that we have tested with clients that have a big social media following, and they're literal celebrities, right, in their industry, and people who don't even have a LinkedIn profile, right? The results are much lower, right? So these things, they won't bring you any direct cash revenue benefit, whatever. But when you send that cold email and people see that you've been on a podcast with someone that they respect, or with someone in general, right? Your face is on the internet, that's when you increase your authority, and that's when you see that gain in revenue and in booked sales calls and closed deals, right? So let's take two different service providers, for example, and imagine that you got the same exact outreach email from them. Both landed literally same minute, exact same outreach email, right? So compare the two different service providers. Service provider one, nothing shows up when you Google their name, no business social media accounts, no podcasts, like an outdated, like a bad website, no social proof, no case studies, right? Pretty sketchy, right? So this is not good. Service provider two has some social media presence, right? Has, when you search up his name, his face pops up, like it's basically only him when you search up his name. A lot of collabs with other people in the industry, other relevant people, maybe even some people that you know, and like a really well optimized landing page, right? Where he has his process, it looks nice, it's not old, it doesn't look like it's from the 2000s. Um, and basically there's like social proof and blog posts like this guy knows his stuff, right? Which one would you be more likely to choose to respond to first of all, and then send over thousands of dollars online without even meeting him ever, right? Obviously it's a second one, right? And that is your goal with cold outreach, and we've literally seen this firsthand where people will respond to a worse message, to a worse offer, just because of the person sending it, right? So that's your goal. Make people trust you just after seeing a few pieces of your content, right? And really, the bottom line is that running cold outreach without a personal brand, it's not possible. It's not feasible anymore because an online existence is crucial for credibility and leveraging trust based selling, right? Which we'll get into later. So next is the landing page. It's the homepage of your company, right? It has to be optimized. And there is a specific way that we build out landing pages for all of our clients, right? And it follows a specific framework. And the interesting thing is, before we used to just use whatever landing page they had, right? But as of a few months ago, we have started implementing mandatory landing page revamps that we cover, just to make sure that the landing page is optimized, right? That the landing page has everything that it needs, that it has social proof, that it has literally every single factor that someone would look for, right? So this is the framework. Number one is the headline, right? Subheadings also, right? So let me show you this. So on our website here, right? This is the heading, the bold claim, right? Subheading, the VSL call to action, right? And obviously, this can kind of change around a bit, but you need to have these points, right? So call to action, right? Then you show off some wins, right? We got Kareem, first sales call within 3 days, right? So this is like the kind of like the star testimonial, the first thing that people see when they scroll down. Next, why pick you, right? Why are we better than the other thousands, even tens of thousands cold email lead gen agencies? So you can see that here, right? And obviously this doesn't have to be like fancy like this, but we just decided to do that. And then you have a bit of copy here on why lead generation is important for the people who are still in the awareness stage. You have some more social proof here with logos of past clients and stuff like that. Then you go here, look who trust us, partners and logos. Now you have a very important part, which is case studies and testimonials. Right, so you kind of want to have as many as possible here, right? That's kind of the goal. Um, and the whole goal is to have them quality as well, right? You don't want just like random videos of people just saying, yeah, like, oh, Alex did a good job, right? You want to have actually good results on here to convince people to book a call, right? So next, you want to have their pain points, right? And kind of understand where they are right now, right? So we have it here. Oh wait, oh it's here. So no more tire kickers, right? Common pain point that people have when working with lead gen agencies, staying updated, right? And cookie cutter. We don't do anything cookie cutter. Um, so a few pain points here to kind of really agitate that pain that they've been having and kind of reassure that your service is the solution for them, or disqualify them if your solution isn't right for them, right? So then, how we do things, right? Basically, a rundown, a 3-step process. It could be a 6-step or whatever you guys want, but a process going over from the start to the finish of working with your agency. So that's kind of like the meat of the whole landing page, right? But also you want to have a booking link right at the bottom, and any social proof, meaning like any social media presence, meaning videos, right? So all of my YouTubes automatically update here. Any strategy documents, so I can go here, and we have all of these gamma documents, right? Going over our process, right? And then our blog, just to show that little extra bit of credibility, right? And then the footer, where they can also book a call, right? So let's exit out of that. So next, service delivery. It's a pretty simple section because everyone's service delivery is different, and you need to make sure that it's good, right? This, like, honestly, this shouldn't even have to be said, but it's crazy to see how many agencies they just do not know, like, how to even remotely deliver on their service, and they don't improve on it either way. So you need to have some sort of onboarding and service delivery systems and results, and just know what you're doing for your service before you even think about cold outreach, right? So once again, if your agency is unable to deliver results, like, cold outreach should not be on your mind whatsoever, right? You have a different problem to fix. Now, make sure that your onboarding process is fully taken care of so that you are able to onboard clients efficiently and not have them churn right away. And same thing for service delivery. So next is the sales process. Obviously, we are not sales experts. We're cold outreach people, right? We're cold outreach experts. So if your cold outreach is going very well and you got booked up with, like, let's say theoretically 50 meetings in the first month, would you be able to handle that volume, right? Would you be able to take 50 sales calls in a month? If you are not able to, right, and that's the amount of meetings that you would like to get, then you have to refine your sales process, right? Or start slower with cold outreach. And it really comes down to you having to have a set sales process and, like, sequences for before, after, during the call. This includes new booking sequence, right? So when a new booking comes in, right, what do they get? How are you alerted? Do you have a closer who has to take it? Notifications, qualifying questions on the Calendly, post call email flows, literally everything. You need to make sure that that is set before you touch cold outreach. So next, your sales process, like, you have to structure it properly, so that it flows, right? Because if you're gonna have all these meetings that you're most likely paying good money for, you have to make the most of them, most of these leads, and extract the most revenue out of it as you can, right? So at this point, you have the basics, right? The prerequisites, right? So service delivery, sales process, landing page, social presence, and a good offer, right? A Lamborghini offer. So after this, you have to set up the actual infrastructure, right, to send these emails. So That includes emails, automations, and everything in between. So with this cold email infrastructure that we use, we're able to send up to 2,000 emails every day, right? So you don't have to worry about thousands of dollars in overhead fees, right? Which sometimes you have to, right, with other lead generation mechanisms. No deliverability issues, right? So it always will land in the inbox, right? Not in spam, because nobody, even if it does land in spam and they do see it by odd chance, they're not gonna think it's credible, right? They're gonna think it's a scam. No email service provider restrictions, right? So you're not gonna get banned, you're not gonna lose your accounts, nothing like that. And any like complicated DNS records, technical setup, you don't have to play with all of that, right? So step one, buy domains and email accounts with mailscale.ai. So let's go here. Basically, you're able to fill out a form, right? It's a super simple process. Buy your domains and import into your smart lead. Right? Obviously, you can see here it is much cheaper, it is much easier, and it is much quicker than any other solution. Right? So there is a little bit of controversy in cold email space about whether this is a good solution or not. I can say that we have over 400 email accounts with MailScale and that we have zero problems. Right? So we have used other solutions and we will continue to use MailScale. It is a very simple process. It takes around 24 hours and we will be able to, after those 24 hours, enable your warm up and get the process started. Right, so they have all the instructions within their Slack channel, so I'm not going to go over that, but it is very simple. So next is setting up a Smart Lead account, right? So Smart Lead will be your email sending tool. So this is the tool that you will import your email accounts into, and it will automatically send email accounts throughout the day, and you can manage everything and manage your campaigns, right? So you have to choose a plan that makes sense for you. Depending on the amount of volume that you're sending, we recommend a minimum of 1,000 emails a day. So yeah. Step three is to set up a designated Calendly booking link if you haven't already, right? So this way we can run the system and like basically track everything, right? So whether it comes to cold email, organic, any other lead gen sources that you have. So yeah, so we usually have two different booking links, right? First one is for the prospects to book in themselves. So for example, if we're sending them the link, that's what they use. And this one we can go a little more harsh with the qualifying questions, right? Because they're going to be filling it out. The second booking link will be when you manually book in a prospect, right? So when literally like we agree on a date over the email, and then I literally like have to put in the number or your inbox manager, put in the date and time and specific details. So this one usually you can't get away with having too many qualifying questions, but you should have those two different variations. So next is setting up an automation from Calendly to your CRM, right? So whichever CRM you're using, and enabling the show up sequence, right? So we want to be notified and updated when our CRM, in our CRM, whenever a new booking happens, right? So the CRM is completely up to you. Most of them are completely fine. They'll work completely fine. And will the only thing you have to really watch out for is if they integrate into SmartLead and Calendly without a problem, right? We highly recommend Monday or Airtable. We use Airtable for our clients. We have used Monday in the past. It's also great CRM. So now you have the option of using Zapier, right? Which is easier to set up. You can literally do it yourself, but it's less flexible and it's more expensive. Or you can use make.com, which is harder to use, but more customizable, a lot more possibilities, and it is a lot cheaper, right, to create all these automations. So a basic workflow from the time that a call gets booked through Calendly to the sales call should look like this: booked call through Calendly, revenue question, right? If you're they're using the qualifying question Calendly. If they're unqualified, cancel the event and send an email with like the reason why you canceled the event, just to be nice to these people. Um, so next, and if they're unqualified, they just don't follow up with them. If they're qualified, right, by whatever metric you're going, alert the Slack channel, right, through an automation, add to Airtable or Monday through an automation, send them an email with a post booking VSL, right? And this is just the system that we're using. You don't need to necessarily have a post booking VSL, but some sort of content for them to consume about your service. And also, a case study is optimal so they can kind of get excited for that call. Um, Also, we include two different emails. So, first, right after, like literally right after they book, they get in like kind of like a VSL and a case study. And then, usually, like a few hours after the booking, we send another case study or some more content for them to get more familiar with our ecosystem, with our process, with our results, and kind of get excited for that call. And then a few hours before the call, just make sure you have notifications set up. It should all be automatic. And then you have that sales call. So it's not only this, but it's also if they no show, right? If they don't show up to the call, if after the call they need some kind of nurturing and specific, this can all be automated. And if they're unqualified after a call, you can also have actions for that. So next is integrating Smart Lead, right? Your sending tool with your CRM. So using Smart Lead's very strong, very very adaptable and flexible API, you're able to get notified and updated in your CRM every single time you get a positive response. Right? So every single time that a response is marked as positive, you are able to have that as a trigger and update it within your CRM. So yeah, that's basically it. So this is also another automation that is easily set up within Zapier and within Make. It does take a little bit more effort and learning of the software, but it's very good. So next is, sorry, my mouth is getting dry from all this talking. So next is your custom inbox management software solution. So if you're running a cold email campaign only for yourself, you're doing it in house, you're literally doing this yourself, which there's nothing wrong with that. I do not recommend that you go with any sort of intricate inbox management solution. If you are a cold email lead gen agency watching this, I do recommend that you have some sort of inbox management solution, especially if you're over 15, 20 clients, or you're having a lot of volume, or you're having troubles managing your inbox. You need to have a custom inbox management solution. Um, so this is a screenshot of our inbox management solution. So ours is, I mean, very intricate because we do this a lot. And we get literally thousands of or hundreds of responses a day, thousands a week. Um, and this is fully custom, right? So you're able to see all these uh, open responses, all these people who have responded to us. Uh, we're able to use AI, right? We're able to initiate different subsequences, see different conversation history. But if you are running this campaign for yourself, I don't recommend that you have any of this. Right? Just keep it simple. Just use the Smart Lead inbox as a normal inbox and just get back to people as quick as possible, since you don't have any of these advanced automations, systems, and processes. Okay. Next is market research and building lead lists. So This is a very important part. This is a part that you should not make too fast, right? It's not something that you should just kind of do to get over with. This is something that you should really put time, effort, resources, and money into, um, because you have this infrastructure to send literally 2,000 emails a day, right? You need to have quality people to send it to, though, right? You need to create a lead list of decision makers at companies that are directly within your ICP, right? So, a few filters that you can use, and a few tips when you're building your lead list, and things to keep in mind is what technologies does your ICP use, right? So, different softwares, website builders, ad platforms, social medias. For example, Facebook Pixel is very unpopular. Number two, where are they located geographically? How big is the company? Meaning, how many employees do they have? Recently funded, right? So, Crunchbase, for example, for software companies, let you know if they're recently funded software companies. They let you know the amount of funding that they've had, what type of funding they've had, etc. And also any industry specific knowledge, right? For example, we launched a campaign targeting official Klaviyo partners, and there's a directory on Klaviyo's website that has, I'm pretty sure it's like 1,300 Klaviyo partnered email marketing agencies, right? So that is some sort of specific industry targeting or knowledge that you have that, hey, like these people are email marketers and they have a Klaviyo email marketing plaque, right? So you can mention that in the email. So all these questions, what they do is help you build a unique angle within your outreach message to set yourself apart from the other hundreds of people, thousands of people in their inbox, right? Spamming them every single day. So this helps you be able to tailor your message to be just infinitely more relevant to the reader, right? The reason that most cold email doesn't work is because it's not relevant, right? People get mad. People will give you bad responses because it's not relevant. Like it just does has no meaning to them. So why should they be responding positively to your emails? They shouldn't, right? So if you're able to tailor your message to a relevant person and get something relevant in front of their eyes, you will get positive responses. So this act of seeing these filters and being able to create a unique angle is called segmentation, right? So it's the division of into separate parts or sections from a broader thing, right? So this is a visual example. Instead of building one singular lead list, for example, of 20,000 decision makers, we build five different types of lead lists of 4,000 decision makers each within specific industries. Right? So this message, right, for this one will be literally five times more personalized if you were to put a number on it than this one generic list. Right? And in turn, it will get you more positive responses. So in turn of, and it also depending on what industries you're targeting, you can use different types of softwares or directories to get these leads from. All right, 1 second. So if you want generic, technology filtering built with is the best option, right? Store leads and brand nav are very good for e-commerce. Crunchbase and Clutch are very good for software companies. Crunchbase is especially good for recently funded software companies. And also Clutch and Agency Vista. There are a few others are very good for agencies, right? And you can filter very well with them. So once you get a list of websites from these directories or softwares, you're you're now like you have the websites, right? Now you need to take those websites and go and find the decision makers, the emails, the contact information, right? That's what makes them leads, something that you can actually engage with and contact, right? As Alex Hermosi said. So once you get a list of companies from these websites, you're able to go into Apollo, right? A very common tool, and a very popular one, and export the leads into a regular, just normal Google Sheet CSV file that you can use. So there are a few options when actually exporting and getting these leads into a lead list, right? That you can just have in your Google Sheets and upload into your Smart Lead campaign. So option one, you can like actually pay for Apollo, right? Which I don't recommend if like right now because it is extremely expensive. Um, or number two, you can use a custom scraper, right? So there are a lot of different options on kind of custom scrapers that you can use. Some are easier to use, some are harder to use, some are more expensive, some are less expensive. Industry average is probably around $4 per 1,000 leads for a custom scraper. After that, you also have to verify, so you'll probably come back with 600 leads, email addresses ready to be contacted for every few dollars that you spend, $4 or $5 that you spend, right? So once you export the list from Apollo, you need to do this, and it's verifying that your emails are valid, right? So there are softwares such as Million Verifier, List Clean, Never Bounce, all these email verifiers, and you need to go through it and upload your list. And the reason why is that only 60% of your list will come back valid. About. So that means that the emails, the other 40%, are not real, right? And in turn will bounce, right? And bouncing is measured by a bounce rate. That is the percentage of emails that you send that aren't valid, right? So obviously the lower the better, and we aim to always be under 3%, right, for our campaigns. Now, if you do send an email to a invalid email, right? Let's just say it happens hypothetically. The thing that happens is they bounce, right? And that means that your email reputation, right, the score that your email service provider, for example, Google, Outlook, Yahoo, whatever it is, it gets lower, right? So, or it gets, yeah, it gets lower, right? So you want your reputation to be as high as possible because that means that your emails will always land in the inbox, right? They always get delivered and you have no problems. And if you do send emails to invalid email addresses, then they will bounce, the reputation will go down, and in turn you will start landing in the spam folder. So so yeah. Okay. So at this point you have a few thousand. We recommend a minimum of 10K to start. Decision makers that you can pitch your offer to. Or you have their email address, you even probably have their LinkedIn, your phone number, and some other information. What is the next step? So the next step is free value, right? And this is there's a lot of like people talking about free value. What it really comes down to is having high quality lead magnets and sales assets. For example, this is a sales asset that I provide to my prospects via cold email, this whole document, and I'm able to give them some sort of value, right? How they can set up a cold email campaign efficiently. And that is kind of like my way into the conversation, right? For them to actually treat me as a person, not just another person in their inbox. Right. So with sales assets, we introduced the idea of providing value to the person upfront and then not asking anything in return, except for nothing like money wise, except for just a little bit of their time, right? Or for them to hop on a call or for them to take a look at the strategy, right? That's really what we're trying to do. And the definition of a lead magnet or a sales asset is a resource that you can give to a prospect to position yourself as an authority. Right? And something that I would add to this is to position yourself as an authority and have some sort of reciprocity going. Right? So instead of asking thousands of people to get on a call in the first email, like literally everyone else's, I can literally pull up cold emails that I get. They're just asking for a call. It does not work that way. We need to differentiate our email from the hundreds of other emails in the prospect's inbox. How do we do that? Asset based selling, right? Creating lead magnets or sales assets and giving them to these people. So there are a lot of different forms of sales assets and lead magnets that you can use, but these are some examples. You can send looms, right? So Christian Bonnier made this very popular, the loom strategy, where you basically send a loom video personalized going over, their website, whatever it is that you're selling. A generic strategy glide, right? So something that I'm literally going over now, right? So this is a very good sales asset and lead magnet that has converted a lot of people for us in specific because it is so detailed, because it actually gives some sort of value, because it actually like makes sense and they can actually use it and plug it into their service, into their company. Free service plugins, right? So for example, if you're an email marketing agency, right, you can give a welcome sequence outline, right, or a template, where they can literally just use it, right? And I'll give you an example. This is actually for automation. So, six. So this is an example of a sales asset that this agency, Link Lemon, they are an automation agency, and basically you are able to literally come here and set up your own automations, right? Copy these automations. So this is an example of a sales asset where it's literally plugging into their business. Right? Okay, we're just about at an hour. Next is free trials credits. This is very popular for software companies. Right? Can I get you 10 or 1,000 free exports? Right? It's very common. Oh, okay. So the whole point of this, like I said before, is to get your foot in the door with people, right, and make them more inclined to like see what you're about, right, and to hear you out at least, right. You're Keep in mind these are still cold prospects that don't really know you, nor do they really want to know you, right, most of the time, unless you have a very good offer. So being able to convince them or persuade them with a good lead magnet or sales asset or some sort of free value is extremely important. So some more specific scenarios that you can use for inspiration on creating your own sales assets. For example, 50-point Clavio audit for 7+ figure beauty brands, right? And obviously you would send that to people who are using Clavio. Fully custom cold calling script for real estate property managers, right? So actually, I think I. So here is an example, right, where you can literally just replace a few words and they have a fully custom outreach script for cold calling. And I cannot, honestly, I don't even know the exact number. This has generated tens of thousands of dollars. This sales asset. It just works because it is fully custom. It has their name, their state, and literally they can call someone right away. Try this script, and I mean most of the time they aren't, but like theoretically they could, and just insert that into their business, right? And they can see that this is a very good script, um, and that means that the rest of the service is most likely the same quality, so they're interested in learning more. Next is a 5 free. Oh, so it's the same one that I have here. 5 free copy and paste automations for cold email lead generation agencies. Obviously, you would send that to cold email lead generation agencies. And the thing is with this is that these are not only good to have for cold outreach for lead generation, but they are also insanely good for your sales process, right? So, for example, and this happens a lot, if the prospect tells you, I'm a bit skeptical about how you set up the Facebook ads, for example, can you go over that in more detail? If you have a basically a custom sales asset for that specific, and I mean that's a pretty common thing that people would ask. If you have a sales asset for that common objection, you are able to simply send it to them on that call or right away. It's branded, it has the exact strategy laid out for you, literally everything, right? Step by step. That is insanely good, right? Not only is it credible because it literally, like, you're actually doing this, right? But they can see right away your strategy, right? It just simplifies everything. And the more objections that you're able to handle with sales assets, the better it is, right? And it works. We use sales assets a lot in our sales process, in our booked call sequences, in our lead generation as well. Also, they're great for social media as well. Okay, perfect. So, next is writing scripts and subsequences. A lot of people in the cold email space think that writing scripts or changing a few words in their scripts is going to make them insane returns. And that if you have a magic script, you will automatically spawn 10 times more sales calls. That is just not the case, right? So now you have your lead list, your sales assets, right? The goal at this point is to write the highest converting email, right? And to open up a conversation with as many qualified prospects as possible. That's the whole point, right? And you do that with a high converting email. At our agency, and what we recommend to everyone, whether it's on a coaching call or just in general, is to just get to the point, right? It just no nonsense, right? That's what people appreciate these days. Just get to the point. You don't know them. They know it's a cold email. Just get to the point, right? So what we like to say is that we prefer logical, specific, and relevant messaging over just unauthentic AI personalization that they know that like you didn't take a look at their LinkedIn profile or their website. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the point, right? Just get to the point, no nonsense, and yeah. So opening, right? A few good things. The good thing is that we have five different specific sub niches, right, within the broader market that allow us to personalize a message easily, right? Which now you can thank yourself for earlier when you were actually creating those lead lists, right? You can have a specific message for each of these companies, right, or each of these sub niches. So instead of being able to write a bad message here, right, because you're trying to do it to like 20,000 people, right, with the same message, you can be much more specific, right? So that's why this step is extremely important. Okay. So for example, instead of writing, right, hey, so you own an e-commerce brand, you can say something like, hey, came across one of company's websites, right? Company's ads on TikTok. Loved the shirt designs. Just think about the second example and the factors that had to go into being able to write that. Came across company name, right? That's number one step of personalization. Ads on TikTok, right? So they must have had a TikTok pixel, or been on the TikTok ad library, whatever it is. Loved the shirt designs. That is very specific, right? And that will convert much better than you just saying, hey, I saw you own an e commerce brand. Maybe that worked 6 years ago. It doesn't work now, right? You have to be very specific with who you're reaching out to, and you have to be very relevant with the offer that you're making to them, right? So there is a big difference. And this is an example of proper segmentation, which is much more effective than whatever you're going to get from AI. And like I said, they know you're using AI, right? If you're complimenting them on their valedictorian speech or on their high school or on their hometown, they know it, you know it. Just get to the point, right? Get to the meat and potatoes of your offer. So next is social proof, right, within your email, and this can be interchanged with your value prop, right? So once you have written your first line, you want to go back and add some sort of social proof or your value prop. When writing this, you need to focus on leveraging the best and most relevant data that you have. So if you have worked with a recognizable company, Google, HubSpot, Apple, Red Bull, whatever it is, you can leverage that. If you didn't work with a recognizable company, it's better to include the result that you have brought them in specific numbers, right? So this sentence shouldn't be more than 15 words, right? It should be pretty short, right? Just you can literally say, "Hey, we brought Red Bull 25 sales calls in the past 2 days," right? Or something like that. So obviously we haven't. Don't quote me on that. But as an example, we did not work with Red Bull either. But another option that you have is to be more direct and literally just tell them, "This is what I can do for you," right? And just be straight up with the benefits and be straight up with your value proposition, right? So for example, for UGC, user generated content, we're going around and helping shirt brands like company name create UGC content that actually converts into more customers and doesn't cost an arm and a leg, right? Pretty simple. Just straight up with your value proposition, right? So this is a good example of a UGC offer main sentence. A bad example of the cold email would be this: "Hey, my name is Alex, founder and CEO of UGC Central." First of all, nobody cares about what my name is, what my position, what my company name is. They don't care. We are a UGC creator studio based in New Jersey and work with all different types of companies, ranging from e-commerce to software companies. Because sometimes software companies would need UGC. This example doesn't make the most sense theoretically, but it's just about the point. Our standard package includes 30 pieces of short form content every month for the low price of $1,000 per month. We understand that hiring a reliable and effective UGC creator is hard, so we've come to solve that problem for you. Right? So let's kind of dissect this. First of all, it's too long. Nobody has the time or energy or attention span to read this. Second of all, it says the price over email, which is highly not recommended. It just kind of defeats the whole purpose of the sales process, and it usually isn't the best way to go, unless obviously you own like kind of a software or something where the price is public. Third, don't talk about your prospect. It doesn't talk about the prospect. It only talks about what the service is, right? So there's this whole idea when you're writing a cold email that and I said this at the beginning, the whole point is to be centered around the prospect. It's all about the prospect, right? It's not about you. It's not about your services. It's about the prospect and what you can do for them, specifically the result, right? And in this example, also, there is no specific result other than 30 pieces of short form content, which is not a good specific result, right? It should be something more tangible, such as revenue increase, percentage increase, conversion increase, something like that. Okay? So there is a big difference between these two emails. Also, it's important to remember that the entire purpose of the email is to get an interested response back from them. That's the whole point, right? There's no other reason. You just want a positive response back from the first email. You don't want them to get on a call, right? You don't want them to sign the invoice or pay the invoice, sign a service agreement. That's not the point. The point is to get a positive response, and that's it. Okay. Next and last is the call to action. And once you have piqued their interest with some sort of interesting social proof, you should pitch your sales asset, right? And give a generic call to action, right? That is easy to say yes to, right? So, for example, if you're looking to send them a sales asset, let's go back to the 5 free automations to save 12 hours per client that you onboard. The message can look something like this: can I share you 5 free copy and paste automations to help you save 12 hours a week, right? So it's super simple, right? I mean, if I was in the market possibly for automations, or if I was thinking about getting automations, or if I was just interested in general from seeing their value prop or from their case study, I would say yes. Right? That's the whole point. Or you can be a little more generic and just say, "Can I send you?" Or if you mentioned the sales asset before, you could just say, "Can I send you a copy?" You can be a little more generic as well. If can I send some more info, right? Can worth a chat. It really does not matter that much. You just need a quick, easy call to action that is easy for them to respond to. Okay, so that's call to action. While writing our cold email scripts, we also create the subsequences for the prospect when the prospect gives us a response. Right, so and this is kind of how I showed you before the inbox management system. We have different subsequences for all of the following instances: out of office, sales asset request, loom request, generic info request, pricing request, and when there's a custom response needed, right? So the subsequence also follows up automatically with the prospect, and this is kind of like an overview of how it looks. So we always send 3 follow-ups before we discontinue the lead. If they like respond, it's just not worth it after that. There's usually a huge drop off in people who actually still respond after the third email, at least for us. So this is kind of like how it looks. So you have the initial sequence, which are just 3 emails. If someone responds to the email, they get put into any of these subsequences where you can kind of tailor that and make it a little bit more personalized. But you want them to be in some sort of subsequences for this automatic follow up. So this is a brief overview of how it looks. So there's 2 things that having a proper subsequence does. It helps save you time when you're responding to these people, and also get quicker response times, which is crucial with cold email, and you're able to get these responses back to them momentarily. So here's an example of a sales asset subsequence request subsequence. So if someone wants a sales asset, right? If someone's like, "Sure, Alex, send it over," you're gonna go like this. For example, "Hey, first name, here it is. Insert the sales asset link here. If this sounds interesting, are you available tomorrow at any time?" Right? That you can always usually have a call for a quick chat. You can also book here, and then you include your Calendly link there, right? And then if they do not respond to that, you go, "How's it going? First name." Wrote up the quick sales, right? It could be don't say sales asset, of course. Say wrote up the strategy document, right, for you, or I sent over the personalized Loom video for you a few days ago. Did you get a chance to check it out? Right, super casual, super simple. Third email, first name. Were you looking to, for example, increase your email marketing revenue by 15%? The strategy document I sent above goes over how you can do that step by step. If you already checked it out, I'd be happy to go a bit more in depth over a quick call within the next few days. Here's my calendar link for you. and that's that. It's literally as easy as that. Now you don't want to forget that you should also add spin text to this, right? So not only to your actual cold emails, right? Not only over here, but also add it to your subsequences, right? Because the more spin text you can add, the better. So yeah. Then you actually launch the campaign, right? So you have those three elements that you need. You have your lead list, right? You have your sales asset that you're going to be pitching, and also your your scripts, right? Sorry. So once you have that, you're all good to go to launch a campaign, right? Now that you have the three essential parts, you're good to go. It's time to go into Smart Lead and actually launch your campaign, right? So at our agency, this process is fully automated with a campaign approval flow, meaning that we upload all of these things and you get an email if you're a client. And basically, you can either approve or deny this specific campaign, right? So you take a look at the lead list, the sales asset, and the scripts, right? And if you're doing this process manually, it's very simple. You click add a new campaign, upload the the lead list, right? Only that specific sub niche's lead list. Paste your scripts into sequences tab. Select the email accounts. Now, one thing I didn't write here, which is very important. Let's say you have 60 email accounts because you want to be sending 1,000 emails a day, right? You only want to actually select half of those, right? So you want to select, let's say you have 60 emails, you want to select 30. Those 30 are the ones that are going to be sending for the first week, right? The other ones are just keep them on warm up. So half of them are going to be sending, half of them are going to be on warm up, right? Complete like 100% warm up. Then in a week, switch it up, right? So the ones that were just sending, then you switch it, right? To make sure that they're always having good deliverability, that they don't get burnt out, you don't burn any domains, you don't burn any email accounts, and everything is safe, right? It's much better to send a bit lower volume and be responsible with your sending than to just burn through domains, right? It just comes out cheaper. Trust me, I've burned through a lot of domains, and it's not fun because then you also have to warm it up for 2 weeks again. Okay, so then you double check everything. You select the email accounts, set the time zone, double check. Then you go to add subsequences and basically paste the subsequences. So you know your out of office subsequence, your sales asset sequence, whatever it is, um, and make sure that that's all squared away. So this is the root of the campaign, right? This is like actually like it's gonna send now, right? All your emails. Um, you need to make sure at this point also that all of your automations are working, right? And that your email account's reputation is steady, right? So when you the first few days of the campaign are very important. You need to make sure if there's a huge bounce rate, you take care of that. Right? You take out your leads, re-verify it, and put it back into the campaign, which is another process that is automated at our campaign, but it's pretty simple. You can figure it out. Um, and yeah, you just need to make sure that everything is working, right? And yeah. Next is a very important part of the campaign, which is inbox management, right? So now you have a live campaign and you should be getting replies from your prospects. Just to be clear, there will be negative responses and there will be a lot of them, right? A majority of them will be negative. People will be out of office, right? Especially in the summer, in the holiday season. People will cuss you out. People will say bad things. People will say, not interested, I'm going to sue you. People will say, I'm going to report this to the government. There's going to be a lot of things, right? You learn a lot when you send cold emails. But what's the answer to dealing with basically around 60% of these replies that are negative? You just don't deal with them, right? You just don't waste your time on them. You just mark them as not interested, and you focus your attention and your time and your energy and your resource on the positive ones, right? So, to deal with positive responses, you should focus on very simply handling their objection, right? Most of the time, they'll have some sort of price objection, or whatever it is. Getting them a quick response, ideally under 15 minutes, redirecting them towards a call. Right? Every email that you send should be a redirect. Answer the question, redirect towards a call. Answer the question, redirect towards a call. Okay? No matter how many times they ask you a question, answer it quickly, direct towards a call. Right? Especially if you're a cold email lead gen agency, I mean, that's where you're getting paid for, that's where the sale is made. And also, I mean, it's just easier to sell over a call. That's kind of the whole point of having a sales process, right? So, literally, that's the whole point of inbox management. Inbox management simplified is answer the question, get on a call. So yeah, if you're an agency doing like the lead generation on your own, you don't you don't need all these fancy inbox management systems, automations, custom interfaces, and all that. But if you are a cold email lead gen agency, I do recommend it highly. Um, it is very important that you have a good inbox management system, and it's worth investing in. Also, you're able to integrate AI into response management with automatically categorizing the lead category. But you can kind of play around with that. We use it at our agency. It helps us with our system. And yeah, I know depending on how intricate you made your automations, you can have it update within your CRM, and kind of update you and notify you and make sure you're in the loop. So now comes the actual action of booking the call, right? So using the automations between Slack, Calendly, and Airtable or Monday, if you're using it, you have two options when booking in the call for the prospect, right? And this is what I said before. The prospect books themselves in through Calendly, right? That you sent them, like the link, or you book them in manually through another Calendly. So either way, you should have automation set up that you are notified, right, and that you're aware and you have their information, and they get an email, they get that post booking VSL and all that information. Okay, so that's actually managing the inbox. Now managing the system is also very important, right? So once you launch the campaign, there are really only like four things that you need to really focus on and need to really control. Number one, make sure that there are always quality lead loaded into the campaign. If there's no lead, you're not sending any emails, you're not making any money. Which scripts are working or not working? All right, so obviously you should have, you should have A and B and be testing them. And you need to make sure that if one is doing very well or one is doing very bad, then you take a look and you modify the scripts, right? And you make sure that whatever is doing bad, you eliminate. And if something's doing right, very well, then you double down on it. Inbox management, obviously, we just went over that. Deliverability, if you followed everything correctly, you should not have problems with this. If you got excited and you sent too much volume too early, you will have problems with this. If you have any deliverability problems, simply pause the campaign, right? Just pause it. Don't send a single email. Turn up the warm up email volume, right? Make sure that the warm up is always on, and just let it sit for a week minimum, right? There's no point of risking your email accounts just to send more emails because they just won't work anyways, right? So this is of course if you don't want to test new angles, new industries, which you should after a few weeks, a few months even of running cold email. The biggest issue that you usually get into is when you're anxious um, to get started and you go too high in volume, right? Like I was saying before, in deliverability, goes down and you start landing in people's spam boxes. Um, what we do is we increase our lead volume over 2 to 3 weeks. So we usually start out at around 10 emails a day per account, and eventually we get up to 30. And yeah, that's really the only way to make sure that your emails don't get burned. Obviously, if you're not using spam words and sending to invalid emails, right, which we covered before. And once you have this, right, once you actually know how to manage your system and it's working, that's really it, right? That is our whole system from A to Z, from what you do before you do cold outreach to after cold outreach or during, actually booking these calls. That's the whole system, right? So to recap, process outline it looks like this. First, you have the prerequisites, right? So the offer, ICP, risk reversal, social presence, landing page, service delivery, of course, that goes without saying, and your sales process. Right, then you go to setting up your email infrastructure, market research, building lead lists, crafting lead magnets and sales assets. Then you go into actually writing your script, subsequences, what you're actually going to be sending to these people, launching that campaign, inbox management, booking in those calls, and managing the system to make sure that it's working, deliverability is good, you're actually getting results from it. So, all in all, this will help you use cold email effectively within your B2B company and bring on qualified clients. That's the whole point of cold email. And I guarantee you that in 6 months, this document will look outdated, right? It will, inevitably, just because the lead gen space is constantly evolving, right? It's constantly pushing new limits. There's always a new software, always something new, and this will change, right? So if you are doing it yourself, make sure that you always stay on top of at least like the bare minimum, like basic trends, or you'll notice that there is a ton that goes into launching a campaign, right? And a successful one at that, right? Anyone can build a lead list, write some BS script, and kind of just do whatever. If you want a successful campaign that gets positive replies every day of the week, nonstop, that is reliable and you can actually rely on to build your company, there's a lot that goes into it. Right? I mean, this video took an hour and a half, right? So if you are an agency owner doing over 10K a month, able and willing to invest multiple four figures into lead gen, have case studies and testimonials and a proven service, right? Proven offer, uh, and of course are looking to make more money, right? So inflate your tax bill, get on 15 to 40 sales calls every month with your dream prospect, right? And only look like to pay for every call that you get on, right? So no retainers, no nothing. There's going to be a booking link in the bio. We can discuss, see if this is a good fit for you, if we're able to help you guys out, and kind of discuss a strategy for you guys in specific. Maybe even something that goes above this, and get a little more detailed with it. So hopefully this gave you a really good starting point of where you can run your own cold email campaigns, of how if you didn't know whether cold email will be a good option or not, that you've made up your mind. And yeah, so that being said, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you guys learned something.